Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Vamily Show, Season 2, Episode 10. Today I have country music star Richard Lynch on with me. And I want to say not only country music star, but I saw that you do a radio show and a TV show called Traditionally Lynch. And I got to say, I'm really impressed with like the studio setup that you have set up there for the TV show. And I'm kind of interested in, are you involved in the videography, like setting all that up? Do you know about all that, or is that something that you have somebody else working on?
Well, we're only involved as far as the production of it. We don't do any of the electronics, or we have a sound company that's pretty handy, and they're very reputable. They come out of Cincinnati, and they do a great job for us.
Yeah, and the way I got it set up is really nice, and that's on your farm, the Keeping It Country farm, right?
Yes, sir. We have a farm in southwestern Ohio. That's where the barn and my farm is. And then we do several events a year. I shouldn't say several. This year we've done very few. But for the most part, we do 4 or 5, maybe 6 events a year. They're out of the farm, and they televise a lot of the stuff. And then we have our own television show, and we have a radio show, and we certainly enjoy playing and providing entertainment with that traditional country sound.
Right, and it's really I really like watching you play, and when I heard you cover the song Amarillo and playing that one, it took me back because there's a lot of times when I was driving truck, and the song came on the radio at the right time, and one of the times was Amarillo started playing when I was starting to drive into Amarillo, Texas. And so I just immediately flashed back to that. So I don't know what kind of songs, like for you, if that's one of them, or other songs that you just have like a flashback of memories from your past.
Oh, absolutely. I do Amarillo a lot of my shows. I'm a huge George Strait fan. It just goes to show you that traditional country music is relevant in people's lives. And they keep that song will, bring them back with a memory, and not just that song, but so many songs keep traditional country music in everybody's life to where there's a certain memory or a certain era in their life that song was very important to, or many other songs. That just happens to be an example.
Right. And your song, one of your songs, Copy and Paste, when I heard that and I heard the start of the lyrics of that one, when you're talking about things changing from the past, and it just made me think about, it's easier to connect with people, but also harder to connect with them at the same time. Like connect with them emotionally, it's a lot harder, but you can reach out and talk to anybody at any time.
So well said. A friend of mine, Nick Nichols, wrote that song, Cut and Paste. And it just goes to show you once again that traditional country music can be quite relevant in today's high-tech world we live in. So, we have all this wonderful equipment and so forth that's created so many opportunities for me and other artists. And yet, sometimes we can find ourselves in a situation where we're all alone, but there's all these people around. It's kind of a crazy world to live in.
Yeah, it's a different situation, and that kind of goes into one of your other songs that I heard, and it kind of almost made me tear up, because I started thinking about my dad, and that was the song Back in '53 that you did.
Oh yeah.
And my dad, that's one of the things that we didn't have like a lot when I was younger, but we'd always have music. He'd always be playing music on the radio and all that kind of stuff. So it kind of reminded me of that, and I'm guessing that's kind of like what your childhood was like. There was usually always probably music on.
Oh yeah, no question about it. I grew up in a country music household, and my dad was an incredible singer, and that song was written from a true story standpoint. Me and my guitar player, Tim Bennington, and my little brother, Robert, helped me write that song right there. And my dad gave me a guitar when I was 19 years old, an old 1950s Gibson cutaway guitar.
Wow.
And years go by, and it hadn't been played in probably 25 or 30 years. And I did a show with a group called Exile, and we were doing a show together, and I got acquainted with their sound technician, and I made mention of this guitar that I just told you about. And he said, Richard, you just met me, but I can assure you I can bring that guitar back up to snuff. And I felt good about him doing it, and ultimately I let him have it. And about 3 weeks went by, and he called me back and he said, Richard, I've got your dad's guitar playing wonderful, sounding great, and why don't you come down to Kentucky and pick it up? So I went down, and I hadn't played that guitar since I was 19 years old.
Wow.
And I played that guitar again for the first time, and that's when I wrote back in 1953.
That's amazing. That's an amazing story. So it's got that one's got a lot of meaning to you. Just every time you probably hear it, because it's on that same guitar.
Yes, it is. That's one of those things that Dad's not with me anymore, but that guitar, will be a longevity in my family, and I hope it's handed down to my nephews and great nephews and people in the future, because I know they have an interest in that traditional country sound, and maybe the next wave of country music stars or people playing it out there will have that guitar to reflect on again and keep it alive and well.
Yep. And we got a few people tuning in to us already. Conan in studio, Keto Homestead with Jess, Chasing America, or Ardez and Chasing America. There are a couple truckers that go around filming stuff. Van Life with Dina's in here too. And I wanted to say, you work with a charity called the Love Tattoo Foundation, and I kind of wanted to know more about that. It sounded really interesting to me.
Well, I'm a big supporter, me and my wife, of the men and women who serve our country, our veterans. And I have a song called Love Tattoo that me and Ronnie McDowell recorded together. And Ronnie did 3 tours of duty in Vietnam. And I was lucky enough to do a couple shows with Ronnie. And I said, Ronnie, I've got this military song that I really feel strong about it. And if you don't care, listen to it. And if you like it, maybe we can get together and do a duet together. So sure enough, he listened to it, and we scheduled our studio session, and we decided that we should do something productive with that song. And so we dedicated all proceeds of that particular song to an organization in Michigan called the Whirlwind Lodge. Mm-hmm. It's a 1,200-acre facility that's dedicated exclusively for our American GIs. And it's dedicated for their mental capacity, and they want to get people a chance to relax and get the stresses off of them. And there's a facility there for people that, just need time to get away and get their head together. So right. I'm really proud of the fact that me and Ronnie McDowell got together and do that for something that we feel is very deserving, which is our veterans.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm growing this beard right now because we're doing a Beard Up Challenge 2020. One of the friends I have here on YouTube, he's trying to get a forge built so that he can have a place for veterans to go and learn how to do blacksmithing. So kind of getting back to older ways of life, because a lot of the people that I know on here, they're homesteaders and stuff as well. So I think that's what's cool that you have the Keeping That Country Farm. Is that kind of a dream to have a farm of your own? Is that something that you always wanted to have when you were younger?
Yeah, I was born and raised on a farm, and I knew that, and someday that I was going to have that farm way of life again. I've been fortunate to be here about 20 years now. And, the agricultural community is very supportive in many, many ways. The music industry is just one of them. We we like supporting people that are in need. You know, the farmers. There's a lot of folks out there that get hit hard with issues with farming. There's a lot of folks out there are so deserving with with the veterans, and so we know how fortunate we are. And if we can do something with our farm and with our music, and everybody enjoys themselves, but it's also for a good cause. I think that's a pretty special event at the end of the day, and we can hold our head up high and, contribute to something more than just the music. The music is special, but it even becomes more special when we share it with people that we can help out there somewhere.
Right. And have you ever ran into anybody that's heard any of your music and they told you the story about how it helped them out somehow and kind of made you sit back and realize that it's more than just the music you play, that you're able to touch other people's lives?
Oh yeah. Once a year we go to northern Michigan and we do a show for our veterans at the Whirlwind Lodge facility. And it's never failed. Every time we do a show there, there's so many of these veterans that walk up to me and they thank me for what I'm doing. And I quickly tell them, listen, guys, this ain't nothing to do with me. It's all about what you folks are deserving. We'll try to help you guys. But they're so gracious. They're so humble. They would never ask for anything. And the fact that somebody would willingly do something to help them, that they are overwhelmed by it. But I typically pretty quickly tell them, there's no thanks on my end. It's my love and appreciation for what you guys and gals have done.
Right. And it's always a kind of a unique situation to be in when you have that happen, because I haven't been doing this too long and been doing stuff in the public eye too long. When I've had it happen, it's kind of a weird feeling at first. How was it the first time that you were dealing with it? Was it kind of off-putting at first till you got used to people coming up to you and liking your stuff? Because you kind of question yourself as an artist, I guess, when you're first starting out, whether you're good or not.
Well, yeah, at first I didn't really know what to think, other than just thank them. But it took me a while to realize that these people are very genuine and very sincere, and they mean exactly what they tell you. So I humbly thank them, and I tell them how much I appreciate, what they've done to support my music and support what we do. But anything that we can do to help them is pretty much for the direction we want to go.
Right. And you can find your stuff on Reverb Nation, Richard Lynch Band, and on Facebook, Richard Lynch Band, on Twitter as well, and here on YouTube on Richard Lynch Band. You find all your stuff, and I'm sure, like most of the music streaming platforms, you can probably find your stuff as well if you type that in.
Yes, sir. And once again, I really want to thank you for being a part of your show this evening.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying having you on, and I kind of wanted to know. Let's see. I have a couple more questions for you. The Head Biscuits song, did that song come about reminiscing about being a kid?
Oh, absolutely. Growing up as a kid, there every weekend for sure, Mom would have a big plate of homemade biscuits and gravy and bacon and sausage and everything else there at the farm growing up. And the term Head Biscuits was just a way of life growing up. My dad was from Eastern Kentucky, and of course, it's a lovingly mention of or explanation of a definition, I guess you should say, of just a big flour homemade biscuit, and we always called them Head Biscuits. And so there's a lot of people that wonder what in the world a Head Biscuit is, and so it's just a big
Right.
floured homemade biscuit the size of a cat head or bigger. And Eastern Kentucky and a lot of Southern folks make reference to that term lovingly term, I guess you might say. Cat Head Biscuits and Red Eye Gravy. That's just something I grew up eating and listening. And I didn't realize a lot of people didn't know what that was, but we're making them aware of it these days.
Yeah, that bringing awareness to the Cat Head Biscuits for sure. Forever Best Friend, they love country music. They're in there, and they wanted to know which country music artist is an inspiration to you.
Wow, I have so many wonderful artists that just floored me, especially as a kid. People like Conway Twitty, and you know, I got a little older, and people like Keith Whitley. And if I had to pick my ultimate number one country artist of all time, personally, I would have to say it would be Conway, because his delivery and his music is just so powerful. Even today, I just love old Conway Twitty.
Right. That's he was probably one of the most unique voices too that was singing. You could really pick out his voice of people singing. I kind of enjoy when people have the more unique vocal ranges that they can go into.
You bet. And he had such a strong, powerful delivery. And to watch him perform, you could watch him put all his emotions and his antics and his delivery on stage of those feelings in them songs. And, you know, every now and then my wife will pull up an old video of Conway Twitty or a particular song, and you can just watch the pure emotion come out of him. So to this day, he's one of my all-time favorites. I love a lot of great country artists. You know, I just mentioned a couple there. People like George Strait and Alan Jackson and Gary Stewart and all those wonderful artists that are, you know, a huge part of my growing up. And I mentioned my dad earlier, how much, you know, I grew up in a country music household. And when you're a kid, you don't necessarily realize how special that way of life is. But then you get a little older and you realize, wow, my dad was pretty influential. In my music wants and likes in life. And I'm glad that I grew up in a country music household like that.
Yeah. I want to know, the song Think I'll Carry It On, is a song about life so far. And I kind of noticed this in your music, and I may have gotten it wrong, but it seems like the stuff that you're doing later, you're talking about your faith more. And so I kind of wanted to know how it was, because you did a song where you talked about the DJ asking you to pray, or was that Pray on the Radio? I think that was Pray on the Radio.
Pray on the Radio. That was a real song. That song happened. It's the craziest story you've ever heard, but it's a true story. There was a disc jockey in California, and we were doing a song called "We're American Proud." And it was getting quite a bit of traction around the country at the time, and I got a phone call from our manager and said, "Hey, be expecting a phone call from California. There's a disc jockey that would love to do an interview with you in California." Now, we were on a radio tour in Ohio, Kentucky, Arkansas, and Tennessee. So we had just left the radio station, and I'm driving down Interstate 40 West to go to another radio station. And sure enough, the phone rings, and it's this disc jockey in California. And he says, "Richard, I love your music. I see how busy you are." He said, "I'm really enjoying what you're doing," and thanking me for keeping it country music out there on the airwaves. And he said, "Do you mind?" Toward the end of the interview, he said, "Do you mind if we pray on the radio?" And I had never been asked that before. So I felt this emotion come over me. And normally there would never be a pad of paper anywhere in the vehicle, but there was a pad of paper between me and my wife that day in the pickup truck. And normally there'd be no pen or pencil to be found anywhere, but there was a pen on the dashboard right there. And imagine me driving down the interstate, trying to do a radio interview and writing this song all at the same time.
Wow.
So the song Pray on the Radio was written in essence while we were doing an actual radio interview from a disc jockey in California, all at the same time about a different song. You can't make that stuff up.
Yeah, that's kind of nuts. How the inspiration for songs just come up that quickly. Like Forever Best Friend, they're asking, and that was one of them. Do you have any of the other songs that you have written from real life experiences? Because she got Me Drinking Again. Sounds like it was maybe from a real life experience.
Well, I didn't write that song. It's a sure fun song to play, especially live. I grew up playing in the honky tonks and playing music 6-7 nights a week for many years in the 80s and 90s. So She's Got Me Drinking Again was definitely a fun song, and it still is to play live these days. But you'll find most of the songs that I write from an experience, a real true life, honest to goodness, something that happened to me or someone has touched me, and I find this emotion come over me, and I put it to lyrics, and I put that music that comes to me. People's asked me before, how do you write a song? And there's no real explanation of how I write it, but for somehow a melody comes to me and I hear these lyrics come to me, and I have to write it down right then and there because it goes away a whole lot faster than what it comes to me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I prepare for this stuff. Like I go back over and listen to some other interviews that you guys have done, because there was a song, one of your songs when you're talking about doing, I think it was Pray on the Radio, when you're talking about doing a bunch of interviews on there. And so I try to listen to other people's stuff and maybe pick up on things and ask them about different things. And I kind of want to know how it is, because you're in two different country music hall of fames, the Ohio Country Music Hall of Fame and the Independent Country Music Hall of Fame. And how does that feel, having something that you know will be around after you're gone? Does it make you feel like you have some sort of legacy now with your music and not just it's here while you're here?
It does. It makes me feel like I've accomplished something in life. I've been doing this music an awful long time, and I love what I do. And it's really gratifying to know that people and my peers and radio people and TV people think enough of me to induct me into these Hall of Fame. And I'm so appreciative. But the best thing about it all is I get to meet people and become friends with these folks who will spend their hard-earned money to come to one of my shows, who will buy our merchandise, that will take a 2 or 3 day, 4-day vacation to come drive and see us play somewhere around the country. And I'm so appreciative because these people, they're not just my fans, they're people that are real, and they become lifelong friends. Yep. So I have acquired so many lifelong friends around the country and around the world thanks to my music that I would have never had that opportunity before.
Yeah, I kind of had the same experience with doing YouTube. I've gotten so many more friends now than I've ever had in my life before, and from all over the place that I would have probably never met otherwise. Does it kind of make you feel happy that you decided to follow your dream of being an artist and playing music and not just going for a job somewhere?
Oh, no question about it. The music is my job and the music's what I love, but it's just what I am. I remember at a young age, I would drag my guitar on the old school bus, or it's just something that's been part of me growing up. And, whether I get to continue performing for many years or, we don't know what the future holds, but if I've played my last song, or if I've got 40 years left, I can tell you I've done what I love to do, and I'd enjoyed the music because it's something that I feel is a gift And was probably at a very young age, I knew that that's something that I wanted to do at a very, very young age. And I'm thankful that I continue to get to do that to this day.
Yeah, it's always nice when you have something like that you get to share with people, that you're creative with. And on creative wise, Chasing America wants to know: do you write lyrics to music, or music to lyrics, or a combination of both?
Pretty much a combination of both. My wife can tell you, to testify, every once in a while, I never know where that song or that inspiration is going to come from. I've been laying down and almost go to sleep, and all of a sudden have to jump up out of bed and half scare my wife to death. But I come straight to the kitchen table and I write down what I'm thinking. Or we're driving down the interstate and that song comes to me. There's no rhyme or reason why or how it comes. But I've also been in a situation where I've been out mowing the grass or cutting hay on the farm, and a song will come to me, and I'll say, well, I've only got a few minutes left. I'll go ahead and I'll finish what I'm doing. And all of a sudden I'll get done, and I think I'll go straight in the house and write it down. And ultimately the phone will ring or something will happen to me and it goes away. So I don't do that no more.
Right.
I'm doing and go write it down.
Yeah. I was listening to some of the duets you do, and I noticed the ones that you do with the one that I heard that you do with Rhonda Vincent. Her voice fits very well with your voice. Is she one person that you enjoy doing duets with, and who are some people maybe that you'd love to do duets with that you haven't got to yet?
Oh, there's a lot of folks that I haven't got to do duets with that I would love to, but as far as working with Rhonda Vincent, what a class act. That lady has got more talent in her little finger than most 8 people. And you know, with all her credibility and her many awards, and you know, she has won Grammy awards and she's on all these TV shows, and to be able to be in the studio with people like Rhonda, who I consider I'm a huge fan of. So if I can be in the studio with people like that who I've been lifelong fans of and call them my friends, I think that's another reason that you can call it a success in the career that I'm having. So
right. Right. And it's kind of a duet situation, a little bit when you're doing interviews with somebody, because you do them on that radio show. Has there been people that you had some surprising stories from on there to learn, and maybe taught you something about yourself and kind of changed the way you did things from things they told you?
Well, probably. I like to learn a little bit. I've learned that, you know, sometimes if you just listen, especially if I'm conducting an interview, if there's a guy or a gal that I'm listening to and I don't necessarily know a lot about, I want them to feel real comfortable, a lot like what you're doing. And next thing you know, these stories come out that you would have never gotten out of them before because you made them feel comfortable, and they have a connection with the host. And so I've learned to let these folks just be themselves, and it really tends to pay off because ultimately they tell these fascinating stories that you just can't get anywhere.
Right. Well, what's one of your stories from the road that you enjoyed? Like maybe a place that you played that it was just a gig that, you know, was electrifying the whole time on your end when you were playing, or something like that.
Well, I've played an awful lot of shows over the years, and people ask me, where's the favorite place that you play? And I have so many fans in Michigan and Ohio and Texas and Tennessee, Kentucky, and Minnesota, and on and on and on. And overseas, I've never played a place that just didn't absolutely treat me like I was, you know, a superstar, which I certainly am not.
Right.
They sure treat me awfully well. If I have to pick a place that the fans seem to be absolutely the most genuine and loving fans, and this is going to surprises most people. the state of Michigan, we have so many fans in Michigan, and I don't know why. We have a lot of good friends up there, and we have a lot of support up there. And it seems like every time we do a show in Michigan, the fans just come out of the woodwork, and it's just it's an amazing place to play.
Yeah, well, I think it's more. It may be surprising on your side, but and Forever Best Friend says Michigan loves country music, so she got there on there. But I was going to say the sound of classic country music, and I've told people that have come on that have been doing folk music and stuff like that. That's different than everything else that's on the radio right now. So it's actually going to, just like everything else comes in and out of fashion, that's what's going to be coming back into fashion now. So I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing more people come to shows like that because it's different than everything else that's out there right now.
Well, thank you. I really certainly would like to see that happen. And, it's just a situation where if you were a country music fan in the 70s and 80s and 90s, and you really loved that genre, you're really not sure of today's country music because it's not much of a resemblance. You're still trying to find that sound that you're familiar with. And my music, it's brand new music, but it's got that familiarity. It's got a steel guitar and fiddle and 3-part harmony and a storyline, and I try to make a connection with a real life situation to where people can almost just feel as if that song was written for them. And I think that's kind of what's missing in a lot of today's music. They're taking emotion out of the music these days.
Right. And your voice when you're singing on your songs, the bass that's in it reminds me a lot. When I was younger, my grandparents would always have the Statler brothers on. So the bass in your voice reminds me a lot of them singing. Is there anybody when you were younger that you used to watch, on TV that you started when you were starting to play and starting to sing that you were drawn to learn first?
Well, I tell you a quick story. The first time I ever performed, I was 8 years old on a live stage, and I got to perform with my dad's band. And I had no idea I was going to be asked to be on Dad's stage at that day, but because we had gone to see my dad perform the first time I ever got to see him perform, and he was playing with a guy called Porter Wagner. Now here my dad is playing with this guy we watch on television every Saturday night, and I'm thinking, wow, my dad must be somebody.
Right.
So he did 6 or 8 songs, and lo and behold, he pointed down to my mom and said, "Mom, send up Richard up on the stage." So I got up and did an old Buck Owens song. I got a tiger by the tail. Now here this 8-year-old kid is up on the stage with my dad in this huge crowd in Dayton, Ohio. And after the show was over, as you might imagine, it went over pretty good because I'm my dad's son, and my dad was a well-recognized artist of the time and era. And so I was bit right then and there by that country music bug, and it's been with me ever since.
Yeah, I can imagine, and performing on stage that young, you were probably hooked after that too, just the experience of it.
Oh, absolutely. You made mention of the Statler brothers. We have a real good friend of ours, Jimmy Fortune, who was the high singer, the last entertainer and member of the Statler brothers. And we have become friends over the years. And when I get to do show with Jimmy, he's one of those guys that if you didn't know he was a star, you would never know he's a star. He was so humble, and yet he has all these credentials and done all these amazing things. And people like Jimmy Fortune are such a big influence on me because he loves it. He takes his music serious, but he doesn't take himself too serious. And I tend to think myself that way a lot. I don't take myself too overly serious. I love what I do, but don't want to become or sound as if I'm some authority on anything.
Right, right. And Miss Southern Belle, she loves that song that you played, the Tiger by the Tail. Vicky May loves classic country music as well in here. And Miss Southern Belle wants to know if you liked Roy Rogers.
Oh yeah, I grew
She was
up
wondering
listening
if
to
you liked
Roy
Roy.
and growing up, my mom always had, we always had records.
Oh man, I'm having.
Oh, we always had the records, and know, I still remember all those growing up from that era.
Yeah, yeah. It's so so interesting how there's different eras of country music that have been around. Oh man, I think I am
Yeah,
still on.
my dad's videos in life were people like Ernest Tubb and Hank Williams and Hank Snow. So at a young age, had an influence on those music, and so I've been well rounded and influenced by some of the original greats from the very
Right, right. And I'm actually having issues here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to refresh really quick, and I'll be. All right. There we go. Hopefully it's better now. I was having issue hearing what you were saying. It was kind of giving me a little feedback there. But I did want to thank you for being in here today. And I wanted to ask you about one last song, and kind of if it was written from experience that somebody you knew or something, was the "Hold Your Horses" song. Because it seemed to me it was about a guy choosing either a woman or his passion of his life.
Well, that song was written by Billy Yates, and Billy, he did my second Nashville studio full-length album. And when I heard that song, I knew it was a powerful melody, but it was also a lesson in life. There's so many people that that really wonder what direction in life they want to go. So that old gal that let him do his thing for all those years, finally had enough and said, "Listen, you got to make up your mind. You're gonna hang out with me, or you're gonna do this crazy rodeo thing." And so it's just a lesson in life song, a song that you have to listen to really understand the direction of the songwriter.
Right.
And we still do them songs, and maybe not every show, but very often. And people ask about them particular songs very often. And so once again, it's a song that will connect with people. But it's just genuine country music. If they make a song, they hear a song they connect with in their life, they want to remember it, and they want to know where that song came from. And it's just a lesson in life song that I was attracted to when I first heard it. So I wanted to record it. I wish I could have said I wrote that one, but I didn't.
Right. Right. And I want you guys to go definitely go check out his music. You'll like it. A lot of people in here that like classic country music will like his songs. Papa Drew's RV wants to know if you like the TV show Yellowstone.
Oh, absolutely. We watch it religiously and can't wait for the next season to come back next year. It's funny you should say that. My wife made mention to one of our managers, wouldn't it be cool if we could get one of our songs as a back snippet into that show Yellowstone? So never say never. You never know what might happen with that one.
Right. Has there been any of your songs in the past that have gotten put into movies or shows?
Not any movies. We've had our music played on several TV shows, different things. But I would like to say we had some credits on some movies, but so far we haven't.
Right. And I want to thank you for being here today, and hanging out with me and talking with me. I want to kind of know, does it, going through all this time, has it made you appreciate even kind of the annoying things about playing on the road and playing in front of crowds that you've dealt with in the past, just because you can't do it really now, very much at all?
Well, it very much so. You know, the first 30 days or even 60 days when we didn't get to perform, we thought, well, this ain't so bad. Nice little rest. Well, right now we're chomping at the bit so we can get out and do it again. So we are ready for this virus to be done and over with, and get out and perform and meet these wonderful people and do what we love to do. So with any luck, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and maybe next year will be a new year. We can get out there and see and meet those folks that's been supporting us for all these years.
Well, when you do get out there again, I'd love to have you come back on and talk about your tour, and if anybody in here is around that area, they can go and see you and listen to your music live, because there's something different about music played live than there is watching it on the screen. Even if the person's playing on the live stream or whatever, it's still not the same as being there live, watching it.
That's exactly right. You're getting to feel that raw emotion coming right from the stage, and it's hard to duplicate that anywhere else. But that's that raw emotion, the live connection with that audience. It's almost impossible to duplicate any other way. So the live experience is by far the best.
Yeah, and Papa Drew's RV, and we kind of talked about this Papa Drew. I think it might have been before you popped in, but Papa Drew used to blow up stuff to country music in the Marine Corps, and we talked about your Love Tattoo Foundation for veterans, and where can people go to find out more information about them?
Well, the best place to find anything about the Love Tattoo is to go to my website, richardlynchband.com, and you can find all the information, you know, the Love Tattoo Foundation, all the different places we're playing our music and merchandise. But the best way to find out anything about me is just go to richardlynchband.com, and you'll know everything you want to know about me, probably more than you want to.
Well, you've been a great guest today. Stick with me for a minute. I'm going to say bye to everybody here in the chat. Remember, guys, till next time, stop waiting for life to happen and make life happen. I'll talk to you guys later.
Thank you.